All right, found a way to not look terrible. Wearing a wig to cover up my greasy hair. Someday I'll wash it. And my face just looks generally bad. So here we are with my prescription sunglasses that I never wear. So getting some use out of those. So why are we here today? Something very important. Something that was more important than me washing my hair or trying to present myself. This is about Phantasy Star 2. So let me just show you guys a couple things. I have a collection, a very nice collection, and I cannot resist the urge to show this off. So this is a little bit of a tangent, but it's very important. So here we have the classic hint book, which this is the American version. Let's just pull it out. Something about just holding it is like you're transported back in time, you know? So it's got like all like the dungeon maps. This game is very complex as far as like the dungeons, and it's a very difficult game. It's from I think 1989, I believe. I don't think it was released in America until the early 90s. I could be wrong about that, but very difficult game, especially for its time. So you needed the hint book in order to actually make it through the game, unless you wanted to like spend like even more hours, exponentially more hours than you would already have to. So I recently got the Japanese version of the hint book, which it comes in two. I do know that the game had like a manual, like, you know, all Sega games, as we know, all of us people who are in our 30s and older, as we know, Sega Genesis games came with a manual. This is not the same as a hint book. The manual would be like a short, kind of flimsy, like magazine type book that pretty much would give you like maybe like an overview of like the characters if you were lucky. It didn't really tell you a whole lot. Okay, so the Japanese version of the hint book is in two, and wouldn't you know it, it's nothing. I'm gonna pull it back out again. Nothing like the American one. So this, I know, I don't open my books all the way, because I don't want to bend the binding. I know, I'm annoying. So yeah, this is what the book is. There are some pictures of the characters, which I used to spend an awful bit of time, looking at these characters. Also, funny side note, they get somebody's name wrong in this book. They switch Amy and Anna's name around. It's either in this or in the manual. Funny fact. Yeah, so like those are the first three characters that you get. And then, Best girl, sure. She is amazing. Yeah, so right here, they get Amy and Anna's names switched around. This is Sure, she's best girl. My first best girl in my entire life. My first favorite character. Yeah, she's a thief. You bring her into a shop, and like a certain percentage of the time, like you leave the shop and she's just like left your party, and then you go back to your house and she's there with an item and she can steal some pretty good stuff. So anyway, the Japanese version, so much better. Not that I'm knocking the American hint book, because it's like I definitely spent a lot of time as a child pretending like I was reading a story when I looked through that. And I could go further into that too. I have a TV guide that I bought, because that specific edition of the TV guide I used to sit and pretend like I was reading a book. But anyway, not related to Phantasy Star 2 at all. Oh my god, so it already starts out amazing. So it's got, you know, the general like guide, but then it has these pictures. It has these little drawings throughout the whole book. These are drawings that you would never see if you were an American. And like the internet wasn't what it was back then, so you couldn't just go online and find this. In fact, I've spent years, like every year of my life as an adult, perusing the internet, trying to find any little tiny traces of information about this game that is from forever ago. Why would I? There's how my day's going. Cats knocking things over and breaking them. It's all right. Now that I've broken a cup, I can get a new one to replace it. This is a good thing. It just sucks because now I have to clean that up. It can wait. This is the most important thing. Look at that. Oh, so good. Yeah, so why would I think for a second that there would be like more to learn about this than what I already knew? Like, I don't know, like this is old games for you, man. There's always more. There's always more to it. There's always like these extra like little like for example, extra little releases of like, this is a choose your own adventure book. It's in Japanese, so I can't even read it, but that's not what's important. Like, just having it in your hand just makes you feel like complete. Like, this is everything. Like, I am my complete self when I have this in my hand. I don't know how else to say this. If you are a dumb collector like me, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's special. So it does have some pictures, not a whole lot. Mostly it's Japanese writing, which I can't read, but just, so little, just like a little bit little, and then it's a thing. It's a thing that you can't know unless you know it, but it just, like, it's worth more than like all the freaking money in the world. I don't know. What do people find valuable? Cars? Like, it's worth more than a car, you know? I mean, not literally, like, it was probably like at the most like $200, I think is the most I spent on any of these, but no, like, to me this is worth more than a car. Like, I would rather like walk my happy ass around and have this than have like a car, or like, I don't know, I'm not gonna say a house because I do need somewhere to sleep, but it's worth everything to me, you know? It's just like the most valuable thing. I mean, I have a lot of most valuable things. Like, that specific book is not the most valuable thing to me, but they hold a lot of value to me. Again, if you're a collector, you know the feel. If you are not a collector, then I don't know what to compare it to. Oh yeah, this is another book. This one, let's see. No, this one's not that one. Okay, yeah, so it's just another one in Japanese. And where was I going with this? I'm just really distracted. So yeah, I've scoured the internet for many, many, many years, decades, I guess you could say, trying to find any traces of more books, more any kind of media that has anything to do with Phantasy Star 2. Like, I just want to see like any official art that exists. And I've known about these books for some time, you know, for years before I ever bought them, because let's be real, like, I have not always had money. So, it's just so gorgeous. So yeah, once I finally was like, hey, I can afford to buy some shit for myself, I bought these books, and, there is one book that I don't have that is rarer than all of the others, and you can almost never find it to even buy. Like, I would search like repeatedly for years on the internet trying to find a copy of this book for sale, and it basically was released with like the soundtrack, and like, mind you, this is like 80s games, so it's like 8-bit sounds, but the soundtrack was on CD. And if you bought this, apparently this other book came with it. And these items, the CDs and the book, must have been a really limited release. I think they were released in '92, so a little ways after the games were released, and you just can't find them. I did like see a copy on eBay for sale a few months back for the first time. This was the first time I'd ever seen a copy for sale. It was $700, which is more than I can bear to spend on a collector's item. I think like $200 is about the most that I will spend on a single item. Anything more than that, and it's like, I could buy like 4 other things for this much, and it's really hard to justify. So $700, that's a lot. And then I also saw like the CDs for sale. I think those were like, they were at least $300. They might have been more than that. But yeah, very expensive, very uncommon. And I mean, I didn't have $700 at the time anyway, but if I did have $700, I would have considered buying it if it was more like one of these books, but it's not. It's a really, really flimsy, thin, like magazine type book, and the only reason why I really want it isn't just to like have all the things. It's because there is official art in that book that only exists in that book, and that would be tempting, except that the art is kind of ugly. Like, it's not the same, it doesn't look like these. It looks like kind of bad 90s anime. And because of that, it's just not quite tempting enough for me to want to spend that much money on. And I realize, like, I'll probably never find it again, or maybe it'll be like another 10 years before I see it online again. But again, the art is kind of ugly. As tempting as it is, there's a drawing of the teleport station girl, who is also best girl. Sure is best girl, and teleport station girl is kind of also best girl. Teleport station girl, like, you literally just see her little picture when you go to the teleport station. So it's a little bit harder to care about teleport station girl, but she holds a very, very close place in my heart. Anyway, so here we are getting to the meat and the potatoes of this. The most elusive screenshot of all time, as I like to call it. I showed a picture of this in my Instagram story for some reason the other day, just because I was like going through my phone and like deleting things I didn't need out of my camera roll. Obviously, my Phantasy Star 2 screenshots were not deleted. Those are important. More important than photos and memories of my children. Anyway, no, not really. Like, if I had to choose between pictures of my cats, I would just upload the pictures of my cats to the internet. Anyway, so I think it's page, I want to say 64. I want to say 64. No, it's not page 64. I think it's 60 something. So you guys are probably so confused right now. Oh, page 68. Okay, hold on. So, in all my years, first, actually, before I get to the most important part, last bit of a side note, because I was talking about this a second ago. In all my years of scouring the internet for traces of like media or images that I hadn't seen, I had never seen anything from these Japanese hint books. Not anything. How is that possible? Like, how is this not just like easily found on the interwebs? I don't know. Like, when I found these on like Japanese eBay like 6 months ago or a year ago or something, I was floored. Like, I had no idea these even existed. I just assumed that the Japanese hint book was the same as the American one. But no, there's pictures that aren't even like anywhere on the internet. Nobody talks about it. So that's weird. Okay, that is odd. And it also gets your brain thinking. It makes you think, what else could there be? There could be more. There could be more things that we don't know about. Anyway, there is one thing that I think a lot of people probably don't know about. In fact, I don't think anybody knows a whole lot about Phantasy Star 2 anymore, except weirdos like me. Yeah, there are weirdos like me. There are people who speedrun that game. We're not gonna talk about speedruns. We're not gonna, that's a bag of worms, can of worms, bag of snakes. Yeah, so the most elusive screenshot of all time, as I like to call it. So, in my scouring the internet for anything about Phantasy Star 2 that I could possibly find over the course of many decades, I frequently found a picture which only exists in one place as far as I can tell. And this one place is, I believe it's the August 1992 issue of Electronic Gaming Monthly, the one with Sonic 2 on the front. On page 68, you see this. Okay? This is the only place the screenshot exists. Like, believe me, I have tried to find a source. Just this. Okay, it's... Now, who would decide to draw an entire pixel drawing that looks like an in-game graphic like this, very detailed picture? They have one for the other Phantasy Stars too, because this is basically like the introduction to Phantasy Star 4 before it was released. They have like Phantasy Star 1, 2, and 3. these pictures don't exist anywhere else. Now, who on earth would have created these images just for the purpose of putting them in this magazine? Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, they must have had another purpose. They must have had another use. They must have had some other, there must be like a source. I don't know. I'm at a loss, but I definitely went through some trouble to get a copy of this. This was actually a pretty hard edition to find, I think, because it has Sonic 2 on the front, and a lot of people are like into Sonic, and that's probably why this is like, people like to buy this one. But I found it eventually, and this is the whole reason I have this edition of the magazine, is for that one screenshot. It's so like, it's weird. Like, it's, hold on, let me just remove my glasses. Not that I can see at all without my glasses. Like, here, now I can read. That's how bad my vision is. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like, I don't understand. Where does it come from? What is it? What is the purpose? I don't know. It's incredible. So that, my friends, is the story of the most elusive screenshot of all time, as I like to refer to it. Yeah, if you are really bored and feel like doing some digging on the interwebs and trying to figure it out yourself, it's a big mystery, and it frustrates me that I will probably never solve it. But yeah, I mean, I have at least this one little tiny bit of concrete proof that it exists, and that's enough for me. Anyway.